Welcome back to this very special edition of Valley Spotlight. As promised, Pastor Brad from Rust City. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming over to my house, and we're talking about something that I have to admit, some people get a little uncomfortable. They don't know how to describe it. We're talking about the power of prayer, especially for this episode, Brad, because we have a lot of people that are dealing with cancer and some rough roads. And we always say, my prayers and my thoughts are with you.
Yeah.
But what does that really mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
Yeah.
It's your job, right? So you get to it.
Well, I guess it's my job, but we all have an opportunity to be able to pray. And I think really at a baseline level, what prayer is, it's a relationship with God.
Okay.
We don't have a God who is an impersonal cosmic force or who lives in a galaxy far, far away. But he's a God who wants to talk to you. You know, he's a father who he wants to have meaningful conversation and relationship with his children. So in the same way that if you wanted to talk to your daughter,
Yes.
you go and you would talk to her and you want to hear back from her.
And as a parent, yes, that's what you want. You want to have that open line of communication. And as a dog parent, you never know when they're going to be running around. It's always super fun.
Yeah.
But when you see people starting whatever that's called, prayer or positive thinking or putting themselves out there, is it met with anything? Does it matter?
Yeah, well, 100% I believe it matters. It's the most important thing that we can do. You know, if God is real and God is out there and God cares about us, loves us, and wants to be involved, then what an amazing opportunity to be able to take my cares, my concerns, really my life, get it out of my hands and get it into the hands of someone who knows what to do with it even better than I do. So I don't know about you, but I'm not all that great all the time.
No.
I don't have all the answers all the time.
No, and sometimes we were just joking around before we started to sit down, and this is a completely unedited interview, and we didn't rehearse any of this. But yes, being able to hand it over to somebody when people are asking you those questions, it's like, where do you turn?
Yeah.
And like when people are faced with cancer, when people are faced with, losing a job or a loved one during COVID, a pandemic, what do you do? How do you manage it?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that prayer does is it can bring a lot of peace into our lives.
Yeah.
Because when we're trying to hold on to everything, I mean, that's a recipe for stress. We're just not built for it. We don't have the capacity for it. We're limited.
You said recipe for stress. I think it's a recipe for disaster. I feel like when I do it, I'm just gonna not do anything well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then having the understanding that God is actually on the other end of the line and he can actually answer me. That's where peace really comes from. Also, he can bring healing and answers to things that are going on in our lives.
If you're in a mindset where you're open to that, is there any proof that it really does work?
Yeah.
Have you ever, I know personally that I have lived through many things in my life where prayer is the only thing that has gotten me through, or being able to hand it over to somebody bigger than myself. For you, it's your job. Do you see it working?
Yeah.
Does it matter?
Let me tell you a really quick story. Just about a couple weeks ago at the church, we had a lady who she has plantar fasciitis.
Yeah,
in
that's
her
a
foot.
awful heel pain for people.
Yeah.
It's like you can't even walk.
Yeah, she was talking about how every time that she stood up, her feet would just bother her, she'd be in pain. So we prayed for her, and it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't anything overcomplicated. There wasn't a perfect formula or things that we had to say to get God to respond.
I think that's a good thing. That's good to know. Okay, we don't have to say anything specific. Cool. Okay, continue.
Just prayed for her feet, and we asked that God would do what God does. And she said in that moment, her feet not only stopped bothering her right then, but also they haven't bothered her since. And that's something that only God could do. It's not something that I have the power to do or any of us have the power to do.
I was gonna fist bump you, but I'll just fist bump.
That's right.
Yeah, right?
Up the big guy upstairs.
It makes more sense, I think. Gosh. I was not expecting you to say that.
Yeah.
That's it is incredible. And what you guys have done there at the church is made that open line of communication for people to bring themselves exactly the way they are. And you're a young pastor, to see people like you, living it and just sharing it, I think is a huge, huge blessing. Sorry if that's an overused statement towards you guys, but
well, thank you. I love what I get to help people do, help introduce people to God and grow in their relationship with God.
And I think there's a lot of people who could use more of that, and we do have a lot of people on this show specifically that we are grateful for and thankful for in so many ways, and we are grateful and thankful for you guys too.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us, and sit tight. We have the biggest announcement we've ever had on this show.
Can't wait.
Don't you move on myself.